of our theorem, and that's our goal today, is to work with a converse. Does anyone remember what does converse mean? Yeah, it's like the shoes. So converse has to do with our if-then statements way back to chapter 2. Those of you that were with us chapter 2, you can flip back. We had our conditional statement. What's a conditional statement? Good, an if-then statement, conditional. So if this first thing happens, it leads to the second thing. So if an animal is a butterfly, it has wings. All right, what is the converse? Does anyone remember? We talked about like shoes, traveling, moving. So it's switched. So it starts with B and then A. So it goes, if an animal has wings, then it's a butterfly. We talked about true, false statements, but we aren't doing that today. All right. What are you doing? You're the loudest human I ever did meet. Alright, so for our converse, our Pythagorean theorem starts off by saying for any right triangle, then we know a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So for our converse today, what are we going to focus on first?
A squared plus b squared equals c.
Yeah, we're going to see if two numbers squared equals the third number squared. Then we can say that it's a right triangle. We crushed it. It's not really written in a good way for us. As well as what we do here, it's going to be a little silly. Alright, so for converse, first thing, we are going to be given three sides of a triangle. So when given three sides of a triangle, and the three sides are going to be called A, then what? B, and then C. And C is always going to be our longest side today. So the biggest number, the longest. Okay, that's a really big part, is that C has to be the longest side. So first off, it also has to make a triangle. If it doesn't make a triangle, we aren't going to be able to classify the type of triangle it makes, because it doesn't make one. Remember we talked about this back in chapter 5, this triangle inequality theorem? Way up here. When we had 2, 3, and 10, does it make a triangle? Now remember, when the two sides are too small, it doesn't connect. It doesn't even make a triangle. So that's going to be our first step, is to figure out if it makes a triangle. You're doing stuff. You can do this. You can there. Oh, perfect. All right. So when we do that, and we have C is that longest side, we have a squared plus b squared, and if it equals c squared, what kind of triangle is it going to be?
Right triangle.
Good, a right triangle. But we also are allowed to do a couple other relationships. If I think of a squared, sorry, I'm talking too fast. I'm just so excited. Math. Literally. All right, but if I add a squared and b squared, and that's bigger than c, not bigger. Sorry, bigger, not equal. So greater than c squared. That means our C is smaller. And if we have a smaller type triangle, what type of angle might be created that's smaller? Acute, yeah. So we have this greater than symbol. It actually ends up being acute because C is smaller. Tishan. Abdullahi. Notes. All right, the other option would be a squared plus b squared is less than c squared. So if I have a really big side and it opens up wider because it has to make a bigger side, what kind of angle would that create? Obtuse. Who's listening to that? Send this. Your phone call is really loud. It's weird you're on the phone right now with bubbles. Alright, so we have 3 examples we're going to do today. All of our examples, our first thing we have to do is make sure that it makes a triangle. If it doesn't make a triangle, it doesn't even matter if a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So our first step is to see, is it a triangle? Yes or no? If it is a triangle, we want to know what type is it. Is it right, acute, or obtuse? Mohammed, do this. Come on, man. Alright, so number 1, we're going to start with our side lengths. We have 9, 7, and 15. This is a really good time to jump back into notes if you're a little zoned out. Skip maybe about a third of your page, not quite all the way halfway down. Alright, to see if it's a triangle, is it a triangle? Our first step is going to be to actually go back to chapter 5, which is like my least favorite chapter, but that's okay. We go to 5.5, that triangle inequality theorem, and we need to see, does it make a triangle? In order for it to make that triangle, what do we have to do? If you take a look at the screen, I got it up there right now. Good, but these are sides, remember, because it's A, B, like side length. So when I add 2 side lengths, it has to be bigger than the other side length, otherwise it won't reach all the way across. So we just have to take all of our combinations and see if they work. So I'm going to start by combining. What 2 do I want to combine first?
9, 7.
Good, 9 plus 7. So that works. 9 plus 7. And I want to know, is that bigger, is that greater than 15? And that one we might need to do some math. 9 plus 7 is 16. Is 16 bigger than 15?
Yes.
Yep, so check that off. It works. Now we need to check all the other ones, though. What other sides do we have?
7 plus 15.
Good, 7 plus 15. We're seeing if that's bigger than 9. We already know 15 is bigger than 9. So if I add 7 to it, is it all of a sudden going to get smaller than 9? No. So do we even need to find the answer to that?
No.
Nope, that's easy. All right, and what's our last one?
9 plus 15.
Good, 9 plus 15, and we want to know, is that bigger than 7? Yep, if I have a number already bigger than 7 and I add more to it, I go in the positive direction more, it'll continue to be bigger. So does this make a triangle?
Yes.
Yes. So our first answer is yes. I'm going to put a comma there because now we're going to do the second part of the work. The second part of the work is to figure out what type of triangle is it. So that's where we're going to use that a squared plus b squared. And we're going to see question mark, what is it with c squared? Is it equal, less than, or greater than? C is the really important part. C has to be the longest side. So in our example here, which one would be our C? 15. So 15 squared is our C.
7 plus 10. 7 squared plus 9 squared.
Good. Doesn't matter which one goes where?
No.
Nope. We can do 7 squared plus 9 squared is what Lillian said. I like to do it that way because I just like to go least to greatest, and then I know for sure I got my C in the right spot. That's just the way I do it. Miss Jack was my 8th grade teacher, and if you didn't have the first 15 squares memorized, she failed you your 8th grade year. She said, you don't know enough math. Silly. She also told me I would never have a calculator in my pocket. Have a calculator in my pocket. Exciting. Actually, I don't right now. I don't know where my calculator is. But anyways, what's 7 squared?
49.
49. Look, you guys are making Miss Jack so happy. She died a couple years ago. All right, 9 squared.
81.
81. Anyone know 15 squared?
225.
Whoa, 225. Look at you guys go. Miss Jack would be proud. You would pass 8th grade algebra with her. All right, and then we actually add what is 49 plus 81?
130.
40 and 80 would be 120, and then 9 and 1 make another 10. So 130?
Yeah.
All right, so is this equal to, less than, or greater than? 130 is what? Less than 225.
So what kind of triangle is it? A cube. A cutie.
Okay. When that C is,
It's with 2.
what? Yeah. Not acute.
It's obtuse.
It's obtuse. C is bigger. 225 is a bigger guy. So if he's bigger, he has to be longer, it has to be wider, so it has to be obtuse. So it should be obtuse. Mr. Khan was just testing all of you. All right, number 2. We got 2 more examples. Number 2, we have 15, 9, and 12. So our first step today is to see if it even makes a triangle. Can we combine all those parts and see if they add up to a number bigger than the third side? So we just have to come up with the combinations. Doesn't matter which order we do it in. What do we want to do first?
15 plus 9.
Good. That's why I do it too. I just read it. 15 plus 9 is bigger than 12. Is that true? Yep. Okay, what about 9 plus 12?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's 9 plus 12?
21.
21. That's bigger than 15. Remember when that was a Vine trend? 21. All right, and then what are our last 2 numbers we got to combine?
12 plus 15.
12 plus 15. And do we even have to find that answer?
No.
No, we know for sure that's bigger than 9. So does this one make a triangle?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, then our next step is to figure out our a squared plus b squared and what that relationship is with c squared. So we're going to do a squared plus b squared. Today in your Schoology, you're going to see like this question mark symbol that kind of has equal signs on either part, but it's saying is it equal or what is it, and then c squared. When I do it in my notes or when I write it, I just do the question mark personally. All right. Big part here is C has to be the hypotenuse, or it has to be the longest side. So which one is my longest side this time? 15. So 15 squared goes for C. A and B doesn't matter the order.
9 and 12.
Sure, 9 and 12, or just for fun, let's do 12 and 9. Just to drive Lillian nuts a little bit. All right, what is 15 squared? We said it was 225. Now, you could figure these out individually. In your practice today, in Schoology, it's just going to go straight from this to the answer. So you can use Desmos if you don't know your perfect squares. That's okay. We can just throw that into Desmos and write it as 12, and then the squared button is here, plus 9 squared. And we get 225. So in your practice today in Schoology, it's going to jump from writing this equation to the answer. It's not going to have that middle instep where 12 squared is 144, 9 squared is 81. Does that make sense? All right, is this greater than, less than, or equal to? Equal to. So because it's equal to, what kind of triangle is this?
Right.
Good, a right triangle. All right, last one. You guys are crushing this. Easy peasy. Number 3. We have 56, 10, and 38. All right, first we need to check and see if it's a triangle. So what 2 should we add together first? 56 plus 10 is what I heard first, sorry. And 56 plus 10, is that bigger than 38?
Yeah.
Yep. All right, what did you say, Lillian? 10 plus 38. Is that bigger than 56? No. So what symbol would we use instead of a greater than? Less than. Or we could do a greater than and cross it out. Today in your note or in your practice, you'll see that. So I'm going to put an X there saying that that's my mistake, or that's what's wrong. Because Schoology is Schoology, and there's not a way for me in Schoology to see if you got to that one, you just check all three. Okay. At some point here, if we were doing it by hand, we'd be like, oh, we're done. Doesn't even make sense to keep going. But because we're doing it in Schoology, I have to somehow check that you checked everything. So 56 with 38, is that bigger than 10? Yep. So does this make a triangle? No. If it doesn't make a triangle, should we classify it as a right, acute, or obtuse? No. It's like saying, like, hey, this person's not in high school. Like Mr. Kwan, is he in high school as a student?
No.
Can I classify him as a 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th grader?
No.
No, it doesn't even make sense. If I say Mr. Kwan's not in high school, but then I later say, oh, he's in 10th grade, that goes against what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So same thing here. If I say it's not a triangle, I'm not going to classify it. It doesn't even work. So we're just done. The answer is no.